powers to collect vehicle licenses. As a result of this, council has managed to do only 10 kilometers of roads against a target of 540 kilometers, he said in Harare yesterday. So the blame game continues. Usually when there's a problem in Zimbabwe, there's always the blame game. And the city council, the city fathers are blaming Zinara since they took over vehicle licensing fees, and also they're getting something from City Park, but there's nothing to be done when it comes to road rehabilitation and maintenance.
Okay, still on the daily news, Makamba wins Telecel shares battle. And the story reads, businessman James Makamba has won the Telecel Zimbabwe Private Limited shares ownership battle after the High Court dismissed an application by a war veteran-based organization, Magamba Chimurenga Housing Trust. In the ruling handed down on October 18, High Court Judge Edith Moshore threw out the application with costs, and I quote, whereupon after reading documents filed off record and hearing counsel, it is ordered that the application be and is hereby dismissed with costs on an attorney-client scale, Mushore ruled. So that is, of course, in favor of Makamba right there.
MDC councillor in court after calling for ED's arrest. MDC Marondera Central Councillor Charles Ngwena and Municipal Police Officer Paul Chikuni, who called for the arrest of President Emerson Mnangagwa for organizing the anti-sanctions march, have been charged in court with obstructing the course of justice. The two appeared in the Marondera Magistrates Court, were released on $100 bail each. They also face an alternative charge of undermining police authority. So those two, the councillor and the municipal police officer, face, well, they're out on $100 bail, but they're going to be in court after calling for the president's arrest for organizing the anti-sanction march.
But, okay. Moving on, minister ordered to pay electricity debt. Okay, and the story reads, can I please have more visuals? I can't see. Thank you. High Court Judge Mary Zimba Dube has ordered local government Minister July Moyo to pay over $300,000 to the Zimbabwe Electricity Transmission and Distribution Company for power supplied to his Mavesere farm in Kwekwe. Zimba Dube handed down the order recently after the two parties signed a deed of settlement. So, and I quote, the defendant, who is Moyo in this case, shall pay the sum of $306,793 to the plaintiff, who is ZETDC, together with interest thereon at the prescribed rate of interest calculated from May 13, 2019 to the date of payment, both dates inclusive. The amount shall be paid in terms of a deed of settlement made and entered by and between the parties. The defendant shall pay the plaintiff's cost of suit, Zimba Dube ruled.
So this is just one of those reported cases whereby we have an entity, a very prominent figure, owing the energy supplying company ZESA. Ratepayers owe Harare $1 billion. This is a story running from the Daily News. Harare City Council is owed close to $1 billion by the government, residents and businesses, a debt that is hindering its capacity to provide adequate service delivery. Speaking during the State of City address, Mayor Herbert Gumba said the council continued to be hamstrung by the effects of a huge debtors book and sought Ganeshi powers to recover the debt. And I quote, in order to enhance revenue collection, we're lobbying Parliament to make legislative reforms that will give powers to council to execute Ganeshi orders, just like the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority, to recover over $800 million we are owed by ratepayers, Gumba said. Non-payment of rates negatively impacts on service delivery. Our residents must develop a culture of paying for services to ensure standard delivery by the council. Because you cannot not pay your rate and expect garbage collection every week. That cannot happen.
Okay, so moving on, 2% tax to stay even after austerity measures. And that story reads, Finance and Economic Development Minister Mthuli has said the 2% intermediated money transfer tax on transactions above $10 will continue even after austerity measures come to an end in December. Ncube told a post-cabinet media briefing in Harare yesterday that despite that the austerity measures were coming to an end, the 2% tax would not be removed as it ensures compliance with tax payments for both the informal and the formal sector. So there you have it. The 2% tax is not going to go anywhere even after the finance minister's austerity measures.
Moving on to the Newsday, government intimidates incapacitated workers. President Emerson Mnangagwa's embattled government has reportedly resorted to unorthodox means to force its impoverished workers to continue reporting for duty after refusing to pay them United States dollar benchmark salaries. Apex Council spokesperson David Zatsunga told Newsday on Monday that government was using coercive tactics such as work attendance registers to identify workers who failed to report for duty after the public workers declared incapacitation. The intimidatory tactics include marking off registers and using councillors who threaten to report absent workers in rural areas, especially teachers. Wow, the sink is sheeping. So, the sheep is sinking.
There you have it, viewers. The sink is shipping. Anyway, so moving. I'm sorry. I just had to. Still on the Newsday, Harare mulls Forex tax for businesses trading in Forex. The Harare City Council is lobbying government to allow it to collect rates in foreign currency from business and corporates that have licenses to trade in foreign currency as part of initiatives to strengthen service delivery. The facility has been granted to the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority, where businesses that are trading in multi-currencies remit their taxes in the same currency in which the goods have been sold. Speaking on the state of the city yesterday, Harare Mayor Herbert Gomba said the move would enable them to procure plant and equipment that require foreign currency.
Well, at least if it's targeted to businesses trading in foreign currency, that
makes sense, yeah?
It makes sense. So now moving on to the next story. New TB vaccine trial, a game changer. And we're still on the Newsday. Researchers at the tuberculosis TB conference in India have unveiled an experimental new vaccine which could protect millions of people from getting infected. Dubbed a game changer by the researchers, the initiative conducted by GlaxoSmithKline gives fresh hope to the fight against TB, which remains one of the worst infectious diseases in the world. The experimental vaccine results showed 50% protection from the candidates who took part. Studies were carried out in Kenya, South Africa, and Zambia. They quote, "We are one step closer to a vaccine for TB." International Union Against Tuberculosis and Lung Disease, the union scientific director Paul Fujiwara said yesterday. The union is the convener of the 50th Union World Conference on Lung Health. So this could be a game changer and a once-in-a-lifetime thing, as they might be able to actually have a TB vaccine.
Still on the same paper, Ngube is scholar, not finance minister. And the story there reads, a local economist, Prosper Chitambara, has described Finance Minister Mthuli Ncube as a scholar who is not fit to be a finance minister because he has an academic and theoretical approach to financial and economic matters. Chitambara made the remarks in Mutare on Monday while addressing the Labour and Economic Development Research Institute of Zimbabwe organized media workshop. And I quote, I think our finance minister Mthuli Ncube is a scholar. I believe when he came in as the finance minister, he believed that he knew everything, and that was wrong. He has not done well as the finance minister of this country, Chitambara has said. At the same time, it is also difficult to judge him because he might be running someone's vision. If President Emerson Mnangagwa said no to a policy, what would he say? He pondered. So that is, of course, how Chitambara thinks, or how Mthuli Ncube.
Very good morning to Elijah Denere. Thank you very much for watching. Please keep tuned in and please give us your comments and your views in the comment section. And moving on, well, we read that story from the Newsday Soul. We're moving on to the next story. Mobile money brings hyperinflation back. 2020, but an IMF mission to the country in August put the rate at close to 300% annually. More recent market estimates based on local currency depreciation imply rates as high as 400%. This sadly is not new to Zimbabwe. Between 2007 and 2009, the country one of the world's worst cases of currency collapse, with inflation rates as high as 96 trillion% year on year in November 2008. But there's an important distinction between now and then. This time, hyperinflation is eating an almost fully digitized monetary economy due to the proliferation of mobile payments in the country. EcoCash, Zimbabwe's most equivalent of Kenya's better-known M-Pesa system, counts as much as 90% of the adult population as customers. So mobile money is bringing hyperinflation back. But I don't think, it's like people, there was talk of the economy going paperless, right? And I think people haven't really adapted to it in a way, because like I was said the last time, that it needs all the stakeholders involved, to actually participate in it. Because if the lady Ramsika and the guy Wekombi do not accept EcoCash, then that means that that's a loophole within the whole going paperless as an economy. And also people are actually being forced into it because there is a cash crisis. But anyway, so just in case you're wondering, one of the key things that are actually aiding hyperinflation in the country is mobile money.
Moving on to the Herald, High Court orders minister to pay 300K as a debt. This story, we read it before, so we're not going to get into the details. So still on the same paper, Zim imports 1.5 liters of wine. That's a lot of liters of wine to import. And that story reads, Zimbabwe has imported over 1.5 liters of different kinds of wines from South Africa since the start of the year, as the country is fast growing into a new market for the beverages, an official has said. Wine tourism is fast emerging as a pull factor in many destinations, and key tourism markets have identified food and wine as deciding factors in picking a holiday destination. Tourism experts believe travelers select holiday destinations based on type and availability of wine as one of the deciding factors, as wine is one of the sophisticated beverages well sought after by tourists. Do you take that into consideration whenever you travel?
Wine. Not really. But I also think that the reason why we're importing so much wine is that many of the vineyards that we have closed, or maybe they haven't really closed, but they've stopped production in a way. Because look at Mukuyu. Mukuyu is not there anymore. I don't remember the last time I saw Mukuyu wines on the shelves. But at least Bushman Rock, they still have the wines, and it's really a good place to be. But like I'm saying, that now we're importing. It's the same as how people, despite having African distillers, people are still importing the whiskey and the brandy and everything. But I think the main reason why we're importing as much wine is because we don't have as many vines in our nation that can just produce the wine locally, and it is expensive.
But then does that now make us a preferred destination of travel with tourists? Because in as much as we import, yes, but that means that we don't exactly have a lot of it ourselves because it's coming from somewhere.
I don't think it then makes us a preferred destination simply because we've got one of the 7 wonders within our nation. So I think we have amazing tourist destination. Our country is a very beautiful country, and I don't think people will consider the wines that we have in our country when they decide to visit Victoria Falls. Like, you don't need to consider anything when you come into the Victoria Falls except the waterfall and everything and the culture of Zimbabwe. So I don't know, but I just think, because the thing is, we don't make it. You get it. Most of it, we're not the ones who make it. So that will not be a deciding factor for tourists to come to Zimbabwe.
But they're saying that it is actually a deciding factor.
But I think that applies to countries like South Africa, countries like France, like in cities like Cape Town, where vineyards actually, where it's like where like wine making is dominant in a city, and Cape Town is already like a tourist destination. So I think, well, it is a decision factor, but I don't think it applies when it comes to
Zimbabwe. Yeah. I get you. All right.
Well, this is the Herald Business, and Mangunji speaks on frozen accounts. Well, this has been trending. This has been trending for a while, and I'm sure people had questions. And we actually know a few individuals who had their accounts frozen. And the story is, Zimbabwe can expect a more stable exchange rate and prices going forward after the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe froze bank accounts holding idle funds that were being used to speculate on currency. The frozen accounts held about $1 billion paid from treasury bill maturities, and the money was being used to buy foreign currency on the market in a manner that caused exchange rate instability. The accounts include, but are not limited to, those for Secunda, Access Finance, Pattern Security, Crocker Motors, and related companies, which were frozen last month by the bank's Financial Intelligence Unit, FIU. Authorities had said yesterday that the funds had since been sterilized, meaning they can no longer be used for speculative currency buying, which goes the run on the exchange rate and stopped inflation. You know, there's always rumors trending every time the black market rates goes crazy. I don't want to talk about it because I'm on set, but I'm just saying.
But you're definitely gonna tell me, right?
I'm definitely gonna tell. There's always something going on when the rates skyrocket. You know, on the black market, there's always something happening. And sometimes, not saying that's the case, but sometimes those things actually make sense.
Yeah, actually
that people say. Like in a way, if you add 1 + 1, it's gonna give you a 2. Then you don't. I feel sorry for the Chagires and the Crocomotor people who had their accounts frozen.
But anyway, and we're also still yet to see that in 2 weeks, how is the black market going to react to the introduction of the $2, the $2 and the $5.
Yeah, and the $2 are coins.
Yeah, and there's a coins. I don't know how that's gonna work because we also have another $5, which is, you know.
Yeah, well, the $2 is a coin. The $2 one is a coin.
It's a
and
coin.
Then $5 is a note.
So it's the same note.
Like the news, they said nameless currency, but I think it's the return of the Zim dollar.
Because I'm confused.
Then this one is the bone note.
The 5.
This one that we're using now is the bone note, and then this one that's coming is probably going to be the Zim dollar. Are you getting confused?
Yeah, you lost me at this one. I only got that this one was gonna be the
green. You know, from the 5-cent coins.
Yeah.
Those are bond notes.
Of course, yes.
Not an actual currency.
Yeah, no, it's not. But then there's gonna be a $2 coin. Yeah. You got me there. And a $5 note. Now, is this like a reprint, or there's going to be a completely different $5 than the one that we have today?
You can go to our Twitter on Technomag and also Technomag TV, and you'll see what the man with the glasses and the man with the keys to the money bank, Mtulingube, was saying regarding this. But like they said, don't worry, it's going to work hand in hand with the bond notes that we have now. But you know, there's always this resistance when it comes to Zimbabweans.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember there was a time when we went into this bond notes and coins that we're using now? There was a bit of resistance when you're trying to buy it.
I think it was because of 2008, you know, when money is printed in the morning and then you go to school. I remember this other time, I was actually at school. School finishes, I go back to my rank. Actually, I want to get a bus, but I couldn't because the money had already expired. But it had been printed in the morning, that same morning. So, you know what? We are not going to risk it up until we're actually very, very sure that the money is going to work. But hey, like the finance minister said, this is like a solid plan, guys. It's going to work. Just work. Yeah.
So that was all that we had for you. For much more of the trending things that are happening in the nation and the world all over, please go on and follow us at Techmag TV, at Technomag on our Twitter and Facebook pages. Also hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. So from myself and my beautiful cool host, it's been lovely, it's been interesting.